Hey everybody, welcome back to Overland, Florida. This is Kevin, and I got Ron behind me in his Tacoma, and we are deep in the Ocala National Forest. So it's about 2:45 in the afternoon. We are at Sand Hill Pond. It's nothing special. It's not really that scenic, but I'm sure get a good sunset across this pond right here. Anyway, there's the old Overland, Florida Tacoma. We went and picked out a campsite at Alexander Springs Recreation Area. We had to drop off the trailer, that way we could do some off-roading without hauling that thing around. We pretty much have a free day to just cruise around the forest. We're just whatever direction we feel like going kind of thing. I got a tablet there with maps and everything on it. But basically I'm just using the factory head unit with the National Forest roads on there. They're all on the factory GPS, which is pretty nice. You don't have to go out and buy some crazy maps or anything. We should be coming up on the perimeter of the bombing range. So we'll stop there, take a couple pictures, and then probably check out Hopkins Prairie. That's my favorite part of the forest to camp in, and I haven't been there in probably a year. I don't think we've been there since Kevin lost his drone there, but we'll check that out. I've heard some bad things that people have gone there and kind of destroyed it and started nailing things to trees and building stuff out there, which you're not allowed to do, so we'll scope it out and see what it's like. Ron's got to stay back pretty far because I'm pretty much dusting him. It hasn't rained out here in a while. There's the bombing range, and from here on out, I think we're gonna go ahead and just go to Hopkins Prairie. It's a nice, beautiful day. Great for pictures anyway. We are now on my favorite trail in the Ocala National Forest. This trail borders almost the entire length of Hopkins Prairie. About another half a mile, and we should get to our little camping area. And we'll stop and check it out, and I'll show you guys around. Hopefully the rumors aren't true and it's not all destroyed and trees cut down and stuff nailed to them and everything. So we rode the entire length of the prairie, and we did not see any kind of vandalism or anybody cutting down the trees or anything, so I guess those were just rumors or somebody came before us and cleaned it up. But this is a beautiful day. We got the wind going through the pine trees, really refreshing. Usually we come out here and camp, put the hammocks up in the pine trees, and you can wake up and you see a beautiful prairie out there with some fog in the morning, usually some deer, nice wildflowers in the springtime. But if you guys don't ever get time to come out here, you can't make time, your boss doesn't ever give you time, feel free to just drive out here because we have a phone installed now. And if you need to camp, come out here, pick up the white courtesy phone, and you know, just tell your boss, hey, I'm not coming in. So there's a bear running. That's the first time I ever saw a bear out here. Yeah, it's the first time for me too. So we just saw a bear running in front of Ron's truck down the road. How much do you think that thing weighed?
Probably 400.
Yeah, it was pretty big for a Florida bear.
Definitely a lot bigger than some of the grizzlies that I've seen out west.
It's about 5:30 in the afternoon, and we are heading back to Alexander Springs Recreation Area. We're just taking a little break, but every time we stop, or if you just look out the window of the truck, We've been seeing prints all day long. So we have turkey prints right here going down the middle of the road, and then right here we have little cat prints, which I would assume would be a bobcat walking right there.
So after our long trail ride here in the Ocala National Forest, back at camp at Alexander Springs, we're going to be cooking up some ribs and some stuffed jalapenos. Our ribs here, they've been soaking in some apple cider vinegar while we were out trail riding. Now we're going to sprinkle on some pork rub and throw them on the fire. So we've had the ribs cooking for a little bit, and we're about to pull them out and set them directly onto the rack. But before that, we are going to make some cornbread here in the Dutch oven. Just some cheap basic cornbread mix. Dump it on in there. We're gonna add a little bit of water. Now if we seem like we're tired, not very enthusiastic this trip, both of us have been up for over 24 hours at this point. We both worked last night. Got off work, drove up here. We met in the Publix parking lot, and we both actually ended up falling asleep in the Publix parking lot for about an hour. And then went and trail rode all day. And now we're cooking up dinner. So we added a little bit of water here to our cornbread mix. Mix it up. Get it all nice and mixed. Probably a little bit too much water, but with it being in a Dutch oven, it gets pretty hot, so it'll steam out most of the water and it'll work out quite nice. So for about the past hour, we've had our ribs here in a tinfoil pan with some apple cider vinegar and some seasoning. It's about that time that we're going to go ahead and pull these off and set them directly on the grill grate. Now we use lots of different seasonings. I've probably tried every single seasoning that the stores sell. And recently I came across this, smoke is in my eyes, this Voodoo Chef Dust. And it is probably one of the better seasonings that I've had in a while. We seasoned it pretty heavy earlier, but we're just going to sprinkle just a little bit more of this on here. And we'll move this pan out of the way, set them right on the grill grates, and we'll get back with you later. Now obviously here at camp we don't have a smoker. You know, smokers are expensive and take up a lot of weight. But this pan that we used it in here earlier, I like to take this and set that right over top the ribs. Helps catch some of that smoke and put some of that flavor right there into the ribs. Alright, so we camp so much it's hard to not be repetitive in the things that we cook. So I came up with the idea of making some stuffed jalapenos. So we're going to take the jalapenos, gut them out, take some of the seeds out here. Then we're going to fill them up with a little bit of cream cheese and throw them right on the grill. Now that we've gutted our jalapenos, we're going to take a little bit of some guava barbecue sauce. Just do a little dab in there to help add some sweetness. And then we're going to take that, rub it in there. Then we are going to add a little bit of some onion and chive cream cheese. Now the cream cheese is going to help cut down on some of the intense spicy flavor.
It's been about 20 minutes. Here's an update on the ribs. We now have 2 ears of corn on the fire as well. And here is the cornbread.
Now we're going to set our peppers onto the grill. They're filled with cream cheese, a little bit of some voodoo seasoning. Now one of my favorite barbecue sauces is guava barbecue sauce. I just love the, doesn't really matter the brand. I just love guava. It's one of my favorite fruits. And it makes a wonderful barbecue sauce. So we'll drizzle that across there. Dinner's now done. Here's our final result. Here's our cornbread. It came out a little bit flat. It almost looks like pita bread. But we tried some of it earlier and it's absolutely wonderful. Then here's our stuffed peppers. And here are our ribs.
So the dinner was delicious. We have a few scraps, and Ron just pulled the corn off the fire. And wouldn't you believe it, we're being invaded by raccoons again. So maybe I'll get a couple of them on camera. It's only about 11 o'clock at night, but we're getting ready to go to bed. Ron's over there putting the fire out. But this campsite's pretty much all dirt, and the bugs are really bad. I don't know if it's just like no-see-ums or just sand fleas or what, but they're eating me alive. So even though I'm not really tired, I'm gonna go lay down in the back seat of my truck. Hopefully I can get my topper back tomorrow, and it'll be painted and everything, so I can start sleeping in the back of my truck like I originally was planning. Otherwise, I might be able to put the rooftop tent on the roof rack, but I just don't like how high profile it is, how far it sticks up above the cab of the truck. Just commuting back and forth to work and driving around town, it kind of gets annoying. 10 o'clock in the morning, and we got in trouble because my tire is not on the concrete right there. So we're all packed up to move the trucks onto the asphalt pad, but since we had to pack up to move them anyway, we're just gonna drive out into the forest and eat breakfast out there. But before we do that, we're gonna go check out Alexander Springs. I'm just filling up my water jug because this one has a spigot on it, so when we're out there cooking, we can wash dishes and wash our hands. Which now I feel like an even more jerk. First we didn't park on the concrete, but I didn't realize you're not supposed to wash your dishes here, and I was washing them earlier, so we just won't tell anybody that. So here's beautiful Alexander Springs. We have about a 5-mile ride from the main road to Free Creek, and it is another beautiful day out here. It is about 77 degrees out, partly cloudy. So this is Bluff Landing. It's a free primitive camping area, no permit required. You just have to camp in designated primitive campsites, which I don't think are designated anymore. This is where we camped about 2 years ago. It's pretty, actually it's pretty nice. I don't see any trash. Last time we were here, it looked like a recycling center. I think we might just cook breakfast right here. It's almost noon. We're gonna set up and cook some breakfast or lunch or brunch. But this is the Bluff Landing free camping area, so if you guys want to know where to come out here, this is marked on Google Maps. Just type in Bluff Landing. You can come out here, fit probably 6 to 8 cars in this little area.
So this morning for breakfast, we are cooking up some hog jowl and some eggs.
What is hog jowl?
Hog jowl is the neck of the pig, like the fat that's up underneath here, like the fat and the meat.
All right.
Underneath their snout, that's what hog jowl is. It's kind of like bacon. You cook it just like bacon. It's a little bit more flavorful than bacon, but not everywhere sells it.
While that's cooking, we get a lot of questions about the stuff we use, a lot of the gear. And I put Amazon links in the description of this video for just about all the gear that we get questions about. I even linked the Everglade seasoning on there. I got these knives are on there, these flashlights that we use all the time, this light on a fishing pole. It's like $39.99, really good light. I think these knives are on there as well. Chopping block, really nice chopping block, really good gift idea, I guess, for camping or just around the house. But even the cast iron's on there, and even the grill. So we just kind of linked a lot of stuff, sleeping bags, my rooftop tent, awnings, tents. Trying to make it a little bit easier for you guys that want to buy some of the stuff that we have. We are not Amazon sellers, we just link the stuff that we have. So here's the finished eggs and hog jowl, and this is what we bought from Publix right here. Pork jowl, bacon sliced.
The best way to keep a cast iron pan still alive is, right after you use it, just rinse it out with a little bit of water, maybe take some salt, get any stuck food particles in there, throw it on the stove, heat it up, melt off all the water, and a little bit of light oil.
The reason I love this bumper so much is not only because of the huge table. It allows us to cook on this and open up the drawers. But the water carriers. Travis installed a spigot right on the side of this, so washing dishes is really easy when you're out in the woods. We are all packed up from breakfast, and now it's time to check out the rest of this campground to see if there's a spot right on the river. There's another pretty large camping area right there, and there's a trail that probably goes to the river, but you can't actually park or camp near the river. So if you take a left, that'll take you to Freak Creek. It's about 100 yards away, and that's really good water for kayaking, canoeing, and swimming. And Alexander Springs, which is where we were earlier today and where we camped last night, is actually the spring that feeds this river, so it's really clear, clean water. So for communications, Ron and I use a Bofang radio. It's $20 on Amazon. There's a link in the description for this radio. It's a very calming radio. It's a ham radio, FRS channels, GRMS. You can program all the NOAA stations in there for weather. I think it holds like 200 channels or something like that, but don't quote me on any of that. For $20, I'm not gonna complain. I also have a tack form mount, which is what is holding the radio. And there's a link for that in the description as well. And over here I have just a generic Samsung tablet. I think it's like 10.5 inches or something. But there's an eye bolt which is holding the tablet to the RAM mount. There's a link in the description for the eye bolt as well. It's like 20-something bucks, I think. It's pretty good. I mean, it's for $20, I'm not gonna complain. It's maybe not the sturdiest, but it gets the job done for my tablet. It doesn't fall off or anything. But if anybody has any other questions about anything, any places we go or any gear, feel free to drop a comment with your question, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. There's links in the description to follow us on Instagram and our Facebook page. So until next time, guys, have fun, go out and camp. And don't forget, if you go out in the woods, there's usually a white phone out there. You can call your boss and tell him you got to camp ASAP.